When you play the Game of Thrones, you
Subscribe and like.
or you die. There is no middle ground.
Alright, hello YouTube, welcome back to the Grease Goblin YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about why didn't Tywin Lannister remarry? So this is a topic that we were talking about on stream, and I thought it would be a great idea for a video, is the idea of when Tyrion is born and when Joanna Lannister dies, so Tywin's wife, why doesn't Tywin remarry? And specifically, when you look at the context of what happens later on, with Jaime becoming part of the Kingsguard and presumably not being able to inherit Casterly Rock, why didn't Tywin Lannister look to make more heirs to kind of fix up this issue? And in this video, we're going to discuss everything going on in that idea. So, before we get into the video, if you guys like to like, subscribe, and comment, please do. It helps the channel grow. If you might like this content as well, and let's get into it. So, in my opinion, I think the first part of this puzzle is I don't think Tywin wanted to remarry. Firstly, because I think he really did love his wife, Joanna, or also his cousin. We are told from the text from Jenna Lannister that the only time she really ever saw her brother smile was when he married Joanna. So, with that being said, you can tell that he obviously did have some feelings for her and he really did love her. So I think that part of it, of when Joanna died, that part of him was kind of broken. He didn't want another love interest. He didn't want another wife. I think the second element was, we do see that Tywin, it is kind of inferred, had this idea of wanting to keep kind of the blood pure. He was kind of like a Targaryen type in a way, which is one of the reasons why he ended up marrying his cousin. So that could be another reason. And marrying inside the family didn't really do much at that point. I guess another reason that I would maybe look at why Tywin doesn't remarry is the idea that I think Tywin's plan all along was to get Jaime out of that oath. One way or another, I think that was his initial plan. So I think that didn't really concern him as much as maybe people thought it did. And I think that was a major part of this, because there's no way in hell that Tywin was going to let Tyrion inherit Casterly Rock. So if he doesn't remarry, what was Tywin's plan? And I think it was inevitably to do what he was trying to do, more or less, was getting Jaime out of the Kingsguard and starting to take over his role as Lord of Casterly Rock. Now this, unfortunately, leads another issue, is Jaime wasn't married. So how would Jaime then keep the line going of Casterly Rock? So there's a couple like interesting things that compound on this, that in the long run, if Tywin had had more children, or if he had recognized Tyrion as a legit heir and someone that he didn't just hate and despise because of the weakness that Tyrion possessed in his eyes, and the corruption, I guess, that you would consider, and also the idea that Tyrion was involved in the reason Joanna died. If he wasn't going to do those things, it made a lot more sense to just remarry. He wouldn't have to worry about Jaime. He could just have another heir and fix that problem easily. Because I think Tywin eventually did want Tyrion out of the picture. We see that with Joffrey's trial. I think Tywin knew the entire time that Tyrion was not guilty of that, but he was willing to let it go because, on one hand, Tommen becomes king, who's much easier to control, and also he gets rid of Tyrion, who was a kind of a pain in his ass in his eyes. So, again, I think it would have made sense for him to remarry. But again, this is Tywin. He is someone that is very proud. He doesn't want to have to do these things that he doesn't want to do, right? He doesn't want to have to remarry. And no one really was going to make him do that, right? There was nobody over Tywin telling him to do that, like with Cersei, where Tywin was telling her to remarry, or with Tyrion, or whatever. So I think when you compound all of these aspects, Tywin was just not this person that was going to be forced to do those things. And even looking at who Tywin could have possibly married, that's an interesting question, right? Because when Tywin goes to remarry, he would have been in his 30s, which again, it's not terribly old. He could still have remarried at that point. But who would he have remarried? Now, I'm not sure exactly when. I think it's Illyri. It's basically Mace Tyrell's wife that he ends up marrying. She would have been, we don't know exact age in her either. at the oldest would have been around 15 on the year that Joanna dies. That could have been a good marriage for Tywin, getting the Hightowers backing him. The Hightowers also were someone that were known to be kind of buddy-buddy with Tywin when he was Hand of the King. We're given specific notations that Tywin, because of repealing a lot of the laws that Aegon V put in place that were harshly impacting the merchants and the higher-ups, the upper class, more or less, doing all these things, Tywin actually got some favor with a lot of people in Old Town. So I think that could have been a likely option. Could he have maybe waited it out and it would have been like a Tully situation? I'm not sure about that. And then a lot of people have brought up, okay, well, all these other factions didn't like Tywin. They didn't really like Tywin until after kind of Robert's rebellion. I don't think they had the greatest opinion before that, but I think they would have been open to a marriage, seeing as how powerful the Lannisters was. Tywin remarrying would have been like marrying the second most powerful person in the country, because the most powerful, you would assume, is Aerys. But the thing is, Tywin was ruling at that point. So Tywin would be a very hot prospect, because you would think about, okay, Jaime is now in the Kingsguard. You would then look at, okay, well, Cersei's not going to inherit Casterly Rock, and Tyrion, Tywin doesn't really like. So you would be sitting here going, okay, your family is now going to be directly tied into House Lannister's wealth, and you would have a lifelong ally in them in the future. So a very hot prospect. Could we see maybe a Tyrell marrying into this? Could we see someone like, hell, Olenna marrying into this? All interesting prospects that we could have seen. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Why do you think Tywin didn't remarry? And also, if he would have remarried, who do you think he would have married instead? So, thank you guys all for watching the video, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye, guys.